Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Adventure Seeker Sarah Show, coming to you live today from Waterloo. So today I wasn't going to do a show. Might be Oh no! Waterloo doesn't have very good internet, but guess what? I have a phone, so you get to still hear me talk. So, what I was saying when I was so rudely interrupted by the internet, or lack thereof, was that we travel a lot with board games, and we often center our travel around board games. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because we're out on a board game adventure right now for Easter weekend, getting together with friends to play games. Now, the problem here is my presentation with all of my pictures, which are what you want to see. You want to see pictures of board games. Those are all on the computer that may or may not work. So I'm going to give it a go. But also, more importantly, we're going to play a game together later at the end of the show instead of having a guest. I thought about just going around to all of our board game friends and, getting them to talk because they all have cool things to say. But we can play a game together. So if you're watching right now, share this out because we're going to play a game in like 15 minutes, okay? So now let's take a look at why I feel like I am qualified to tell you about board games and how they relate to travel. So now we love board games a lot, and we have a collection of board games. This is part of our collection. Yes, only part. I think we're up to about 1,100 games now. I haven't counted for a while. In the top right corner, that's a lot of our very small games, and that adds up quickly. But we love games. We have board game parties all the time. We travel with board games all the time. And a lot of those small games are great for travel. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later. And that's only part of our collection. Like, there are more. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is WBC, or the World Board Game Championships. Now, we go to this every year, and the kids say that it's their favorite time of year. They look forward to it, but not just for the board games, which are fun, of course, but because it's also a great place to get together with friends with common interests over and over. It's almost like going to summer camp for adults and for kids. But WBC is held at Seven Springs Resort in Pennsylvania. Now, this place is amazing all on its own. I should have brought some pictures of that because there is some cool stuff going on there. They have restaurants, of course. The hotel is attached right to the convention center, so you can just walk down to play your tournaments and stuff at WBC. But there's a pool inside, a pool outside, bowling. I think they just added an escape room recently. And then there's a big mountain slide, the Alpine slide. They have a Euro bungee. Like, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. It's not just for the board games. The whole thing is awesome. But as you can see there, there's like a sea of people playing board games in tournament. I think that's probably one game that's going on right now in that photo. And then also, all those panels you see on the right side, that's the tournaments. So there's tournaments for over 100 games throughout the week, and it is just phenomenal. So if you feel like you like board games enough to do this, you too can go to WBC and go play board games for the whole week and also do some other cool stuff at Seven Springs. And the other thing about WBC is there's a juniors room. So it's set up for families. The juniors room is run by a bunch of really cool people who like kids, and there's a whole bunch of tournaments just for 12 and under. And they award ribbons and stuff as well, whereas, you know, there's plaques in the regular tournaments, but the juniors room is phenomenal and really well run by the volunteers. And then if you don't really feel like playing competitively, there's also open gaming. So that room there that you're seeing and all of the games on the tables and lots more where those came from are all in open gaming, where you can just go and sit and play games with friends and have fun and don't compete. However, there is also a play games with new friends option, because they have these cool little things made up so that you can set up a game and sit it on your table and get players to come play with you if you haven't round out of friends to come with you. So that's kind of a neat feature of the open gaming that I like. So another thing that we do while we travel that I've talked about before, but I think is also interesting to note and important for you if you travel and like board games. So we do travel with probably almost 20 board games everywhere we go. But of course, we have a van and lots of trunk space and underfoot bins where we can stash games while we're traveling, which, by the way, also comes really in handy at WBC because they have an auction store one of the days of the tournaments, and then they also have vendors there. So you might end up picking some new games up when you go, just saying. We maybe come home with like 40 to 60 new games every year. So those big shelves that you saw, that's where a lot of that comes from. But board game cafes, what's featured here is the boardroom in Halifax, which I think I talked about recently as well. But the boardroom is fantastic. Like, it is such a great place, great game collection, fantastic staff, really great food. Like I said, we travel with 20 board games with us, and we still go to the boardroom every time we're in Halifax. But there are places like this in most major cities. So if you love gaming and love traveling, you can take games with you, and that's great. But there's usually places set up to do that for you while you're on the road, which is kind of cool. So if you're in Halifax, the boardroom is my recommendation. Another great option if you want to play games while traveling is BGA, or Board Game Arena. Now, I don't know if you've seen Jen Hayward's show on Connect TV here, but she really likes Board Game Arena. I got her addicted. She now plays way more than I do, and it's fantastic. They too have a huge selection of games, so you can see it will suggest to you things that you might want to play again, selections for you based on other games that you like. It's free to make an account, though they do have a pro account, which gives you access to a lot more games, which I would recommend. It's not very expensive and very much worth it if you play regularly. And then you can go and play tournaments with friends. You can go or play games with friends. You can play in tournaments. You can also set up things on your own where you can go and play with whoever's there. You can set up tournaments. You can tell the system to give you random opponents, and it gives you points. So it's pretty often. It's pretty this is amazing. It's a great resource, and it's well priced, and it travels in your pocket with you because you can play it on mobile as well. So definitely, if you like games, Board Game Arena is the place to be. And look, Jen didn't know that. Jen is commenting here, ooh, games all week. And yes, games all week at the World Board Game Championships. There are over 100 tournaments, right? So you pick and choose what you're playing in. But there are games every day, except for the Tuesday, I think. But most days, games start at 9 a.m. and the last game starts at 11 o'clock at night. So it is really all day of games and a whole week, actually over a week of that. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of our favorite games to travel with. Now, of course, when you're traveling, space is a consideration. You need to make sure that you're not taking too much space in your travels with games, or, depending on what you're traveling for, you can just take lots of games, and that's okay too. But I'm going to tell you some of our favorite games, and often size is a factor here. And then certainly all of these ones, size is definitely a factor. So this is by far my favorite game to travel with, and arguably one of my favorite games overall because it's just fun and light and quick. This is called Dead Man's Draw. Now, this is just a pirate-themed press your luck game, and it travels in a tiny little box. And we actually play this a lot while we're waiting for our food or drinks at bars. We'll we'll just put it right out on the table. It doesn't take up a ton of space, and it's pirate-themed, and that's fun. So we've traveled with this game almost everywhere we've gone because I really like it. It's easy to teach people if someone wants to join in, and also it's fun and small, right? So then on the press your luck vein, this game is called Pass the Pigs, and you are rolling these two pigs like dice. Yes, I'm not joking at all. You're rolling those two little pigs like dice, and they have dots on one side of them. So depending on the combination of how the pigs fall, and whether you have dice up or the dots up or down, that gives you points or can make you lose points or go bust. So there's a little cheat sheet there that tells you what your points are for each orientation of pig combo. And really all you need for this is, if you know how to play already, is a couple of pigs and a pencil and paper. That is a weird thing to say, or you don't even need a pencil and paper. You literally could just keep track of the points on your phone or in your head if you're smart. So really all you need is the tiny pigs. So in terms of like taking up space, this is the best value for space because it's a fun game. And really, if you know what you're doing, you just need a couple of pigs. So that's Pass the Pigs, and a great travel game. One of our family favorites, though, and we actually bought this at WBC, is Sunday Split. So this is a really neat little bluffing game where you're set collecting as well to get points. And of course, it's Sunday themed. So you're collecting things like scoops of ice cream and whipped cream and sprinkles and cherries and bananas. So it's a really nice little game that is quick to play. And the kids really like it, and we really like it. You know, it's one of those games, the kind that I like, where it's still fun for adults, but easy enough for kids to play, right? So that's an important thing for us because we have a whole bunch of children that play board games with us. And Sunday Split is definitely a great one. And again, just a card game, so it's just a card-sized package and travels really well. Now, this one is also small and travels well. Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. But it comes with a disclaimer. If you are going to play this game, make sure you're okay with getting hurt. It's a very silly little game where you have cards and you have to put them down saying, you know, taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza, you're flipping over the deck. And if at one point these will match up, the thing you're saying will match up with the thing that's face up, and then you have to put your hand down on it. And that process of everybody getting their hand in there ends up in some pain. So every time I've played it, that's just the way it works. So my recommendation, if you're going to play this game, is yes, do it. It's a lot of fun. Also, take your rings off so you don't hurt people. And then we have Love Letter. This is like a nice little standard, a very, very easy game to travel with, fits in your pocket. It comes in that little drawstring bag. There are a million versions of it. So there's Love Letter, there's Batman Love Letter, there's an anime Love Letter that I've seen. People even make their own Love Letter decks sometimes. So this is a really neat little game and travels well in your pocket. We've played this at so many restaurants and bars, just sitting there waiting. You can literally play it anywhere. You don't need much space, and it can fit in your purse or in your pocket easily. Now, if you want, like all of those games I mentioned are kind of very light games. If you want something that's a little bit heavier but also travels well, I have two small box games that are not quite that small, but they're just a tiny little bit larger that also travel well. Wizards of the Wild is my personal, like, probably actual favorite game. It's a fun game. It's small. It's fairly fast. The art is beautiful, which you can sort of see from the box there. There are hundreds of cards illustrated as beautifully as that. And you are all animal wizards. You have a character, you have a deck of spells. Like it's kind of a deck building game that's really neat. I haven't seen it sold many places, so I'm not sure how easy it is to get your hands on it, but I really love this game. And then this one pictured here is Innovation. This is our other favorite small box game. You're going through the ages and collecting cards that give you the ability to do things, to go through the ages of time to get to the end. I think it's best as a 2-player game, although theoretically you can play it with 3 players, we have. But this is also a WBC game, one of the ones that are played in tournament. And while it isn't like a super easy one to teach really fast, and it's not the easiest game on here, it is a lot of fun if you want to take a few moments to learn it, and it's also easy to travel with because it's small. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is kind of a stretch in calling it a board game, but this is Sneaky Cards, and it is very cool. So Sneaky Cards is this cool little game that you have cards that give you mini missions, and you go out and do them and then pass the cards on. And you can register your deck and track your deck, which tracks each individual card, so you can see how your cards are traveling around. So this game has some life, and it's a really neat addition to your game shelf, but it does mean eventually you're going to get rid of all those cards. Now, they have actually made a Sneaky Cards 2, so when you run out of those cards, that's fine. But this is a great game for travel, which is why I wanted to mention it, because if you take this out traveling with you, you're doing all of these missions while you're on the road, just imagine how far those cards are going to go, and you'll be able to track your deck with some really interesting things if you're distributing them all over the place, right? So, speaking of Sneaky Cards, I have with me Sneaky Cards. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this game and how it works, and then we're going to go out and play together. That'll be fun, right? Okay, so Sneaky Cards has 5 different types of card. So they each have their mission objective, and then it tells you what to do. So the mission objective is care, create, grow, connect, or engage. With the care cards, you're basically doing something nice for people. So the examples we have here, I'm not going to show you each card because I want you to go out and buy this and look at them yourself, is to pay for someone's bus or subway fare or car toll, or prepay for an item at a vending machine. Now, there's also a subtext that tells you what to do with the card when you do that sometimes. So give this card to the cashier and ask them to pass it to the next person, for example. So it tells you how to get the card into the hands of someone else and what to do with it, which is kind of neat. And then for the create one, you are essentially creating something and then passing your card along with it most of the time. But for example, we have an upcycling one and a cooking up a new recipe one. So both kind of interesting ideas, and those move your card along in a special way. We have our mission objective grow, which gets you doing things to better yourself, essentially. Mission connect, where you're looking for things, but not what you would necessarily think of as something you're looking for. Like in this case, you're looking for someone who makes you smile and giving them the card. And in this case, you're looking for someone dressed like a superhero. So I think there's a limited number of places you can play that one. And then we have the blue cards, which are probably my favorite, which is why I'm mentioning them last. These are the ones with the engage missions. So they get you out engaging with people around you in an interesting way. So this one has, now there's more here that I'm not going to tell you, but during your conversation, whenever you would say the word now, instead say meow. So that's fun. And then there's even a board game related one. So this one gets you to go to a cafe with a game and, sit there until a stranger comes and plays a board game with you, essentially. So it's a really neat game that gets you out into the world. Now, I have taken out of the deck some cards that I could theoretically play right here in the building that I'm in or in the surrounding area. And I have enough charge on my phone that I can take you out to play with me. So I think we're going to go through a couple of these cards and go play some Sneaky Cards. Now, I'm going to start with one that's nice and easy. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you guys a few cards to choose from, and anyone who is watching live, you can help me decide which ones to play. How's that? So I think the easiest one is to go put this card on a community bulletin board. Now this is, oh yes, I forgot these ones. The yellow cards, mission objective, surprise! So it's to surprise people with the cards in some way. So we're going to go out and take this out to the bulletin board, but while I'm walking to there, we're going to shuffle up these cards that I took out, the ones that we could, that we could work with while we're here. And I'm going to flip 2 of them over and read them out to you. And you're going to tell me what I should go do after we put a card on the bulletin board. How's that? So we have mission create. We have create a collaborative doodle. So on this card, we're going to start a doodle in that blank space, and then we're going to pass the card along to someone else. And then that will keep happening as we track our card later. And then we have mission objective engage. And this is to defeat someone in a duel. So challenge someone to an arm wrestle or a thumb war or whatever and defeat them, and then pass along your card. So while we're wondering, why don't you decide? And if no one picks, I will. Then why don't you decide which objective we go complete? Are we going to defeat someone in a duel or create some collaborative art? I'm going to put all the rest of these cards in my pocket, and we're going to go take a walk through the University of Waterloo and go post a sneaky card on a community bulletin board. We're going on an adventure! Yay! So I don't know if you've ever been to the University of Waterloo, but this is actually kind of a cool place with lots of neat things to see. I'm in the Math and Computer Science building, and what I love about this place is that they have a lot of art up on the walls. It's some very interesting design. They've just recently earlier. Outside of this building, there's a rock garden. So it's all different types of rocks that have been donated by different organizations, all artfully arranged with plaques to tell you what they are and who they were donated by. So that's another one of my favorite things. Might even take you out there if we get through all of our cards. But it is very cold and windy today, so we'll see. Now, look what I found. Bulletin boards galore. So I'm gonna go look for a good spot, and we're gonna put this one up. Oh, look at this. Okay, so we've got a push pin, and I found another bulletin board. And this one looks pretty empty, so this might stand out. So I think I'm gonna put it right in the middle of this because the colors match and that makes me happy. So we're going to leave that right there, and then hopefully someone will find it and move it around to new bulletin boards, hopefully far off bulletin boards, and we can track that card. So when people find the card, they can actually go onto the Sneaky Cards website. Each card has its own little custom code at the very bottom. And so they can put that code into the website and it tracks it. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so Josh says it's thumb war time. So we're gonna go challenge someone to a thumb war. Let's go see who we can find. My objective will be to find a stranger that I don't know, but the campus is pretty empty because we're Easter weekend, so it might end up being someone I know. But we're gonna walk around until we find someone, and then it's thumb war time. Now, you know that I like adventures, and I'm pretty good at that. But what you don't know is I'm also pretty good at thumb wars. So I don't think I'm gonna lose. We're gonna win this duel, which is good because then I can pass on my card. I want to say one COVID-related thing. So all of the doors have these maximum occupancy signs, which makes sense, right? They're trying to, make sure social distancing is possible. We walked by a room earlier today where the maximum number of people was 0. So I'm not sure what that room was all about, but nobody's allowed in there. Okay, I hear people. I hear people. I heard other people, but they were people I knew. So let's see. Who can I find? Hey, first person I saw was my daughter. So she's small. I can beat her. Delia, come here. And so what's cool about this is now she's going to keep passing this card on by doing this with other people, right?
What is that?
I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
It's time for a thumb war.
Ha!
Okay, so you're going to take this card with the hand that you're not using because you're going to then read it later and pass it on. And wait, I've got to get it so that we can see. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war.
Bow, kiss, begin. Skip the part, but whatever.
Haha.
You will never get my.
No! Victory! I beat a child. Okay, cool. Now you can go continue the game.
Okay.
All right, say bye.
Bye.
All right, now we're gonna do a couple more things. Let's play 2 more rounds. Does that sound good? Yeah. So we're just gonna go on an adventure through Waterloo playing this. So I'm gonna shuffle the cards again. Guess we should probably take out the one that we didn't do and see what else we have. Okay, pull those up. And we have a mission surprise. Hide this card somewhere where it can be easily found. And then we have mission objective, engage. Play the world's largest game of tag. So this is just tagging someone on the shoulder, giving them the card, and then booking it. So I think actually that maybe the Heidi one is best. Because oh no! Oh no, I'm getting my own card back. Is it thumb war time?
Yes.
Great.
Because they were
Surprise!
sports about it.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I declare thumb war. Bow, kiss, begin.
Oh, you almost got me. 1, 2, 3. Haha! Now that means you still have to keep it. Sorry.
No.
Yes, you can have your phone back. No, you can't. I lied. Your phone's in there, Lou. Oh, there. See? It begins. All right. So, out of these two, so we've already got the card chain going. Where within this space of people, we've got people thumb warring, and that's great. So, let's go use the hide this card somewhere because I have an extra sneaky reason for that. I can take you out to see the rock garden. Not that anyone should be excited about a rock garden as I am, but maybe there's someone out there watching who really likes rocks and will be just as excited about this as me. But a big yellow card, that's going to stand out in a rock garden. So let's go for it. Yeah. Okay. We're very close by. So on the subject of rocks and travel, that's actually one of my favorite things to do while traveling too. Sometimes we have whole entire trips that are centered just around rock hounding. So we've been rock hounding and gem digging in lots and lots of different places. And that is a great family activity that I would highly recommend. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the rock garden. So this is pretty cool. There's all kinds of rocks here that are all very interesting. And then they each have these plaques that tell you all about it and who it was donated by. So I think that's a pretty cool system. Now, we're going to look around the rock garden for a moment and see if there's a very obvious place to hide one of these cards. So let's see. Oh, I think we can put it in here. What do you think? Does that look like a good spot? Yeah, we're going to put it in here. Okay, so For the people that just joined, we're playing Sneaky Cards together because we were talking all about board games today, and Sneaky Cards is a great game to bring traveling because you get to pass on these cards and they get tracked through your account online, and you can see where your cards have traveled without you. So here we go. Gonna wedge it right in there. So now we've completed objective 2. We've got one card circulating, doing thumb wars, and we have one card in somewhere that is very easy to find. So I'm actually really glad it's not very windy out here. It was so windy earlier. You know what? I'm gonna take you on a trip around the rock garden before we do our next thing. I'm gonna shuffle up, and then we will go look at some rocks while we decide which one to do. And yeah, so we have, let's see. Oh, somehow the doodle one got back in here. We have create a collaborative doodle or take a selfie with a total stranger. So what do you think? Let's go look at rocks while we decide which one to do. Okay. Since I'm outside, I could probably find a stranger, just FYI. So this rock garden is actually like pretty expansive, and it has a lovely little informational panel, which you know I love to tell you all about it. But look at some of these rocks. Like, okay, I know that this isn't nearly as exciting to other people as it is to me, but this is like a gigantic one full, look, like for reference, full of quartz and feldspar. Like, it's really pretty. And then there was one over here that was just like shiny like crazy. Okay. So it looks like we're going to go take a selfie with a stranger. Let's go find one. Yeah? Now I'm gonna like ask strangers to take a selfie with me. Oh wait, I don't think I can because I'm on my phone, and I bet that it'll kick me out of StreamYard, and that wouldn't be good. Okay. Oh, I know. We have give someone a gift for no reason. So this is part of the caring, and the one it says is candy bar. Now there are better ways that I could do this, but would you like to find someone to give a candy bar and a card to? I would. Now I don't have like a chocolate bar in my pocket or anything, but I do have a chocolate chip granola mini bar. So let's see what we can do. Okay, I see some strangers. Let's go get them. Oh, there's a random stranger. Let's run. Let's get the random stranger. And you can see the rock garden in behind me, which is pretty cool. So this game comes in a really small box. It's like, oh, I lost my candy bar. A really small box like the size of your phone. So you can literally just take this anywhere with you. Like I was carrying it around in my pocket earlier. Oh, my stranger got away. So really, not only is it small and portable, it's a lot of fun, as you can see, because now we've played together. But we're gonna go back inside and find someone to give this candy bar to, and then we'll start to say goodbye. Wandering around, finding our last victim. I mean, our last person to play sneaky cards with. Don't forget to go like Adventure Seeker Sarah and follow on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the places. But there's other things I'm doing too. That beerthing.ca, Nova Scotia Buzz, Class A Paranormal. Make sure to follow Connect TV. So get out there and follow us on the internet. Yay! I think about that a lot, that it would be really weird if you had like 1,000 strangers following you around anywhere else, but you know. Oh, I think I see someone who I can give this candy bar to. Hey guys, I have something for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, since you're here as a team, this is for you. And I don't mind if you share with Lyndon.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so there we go. We've played a game together, and now you know a little bit more about how you two can adventure with board games. So until next week, happy adventuring.